What's up guys, it's Kara Corey here from Kara Corey Fit Life, and I am here with another one of my great hashtag throw shit in a bowl recipes for you. One of my favorite things growing up as a kid, we had this bakery that made these delicious like shortbread cookies filled with raspberry like filling. They were so good. So today what I want to recreate are kind of a healthier version of those cookies. So we're gonna get started and set your oven at 400 degrees to cook these. What I'm gonna do is make like 2 big cookies, but you could certainly use this batter to divide it up into multiple little cookies. Macros will be for the entire batch, so totally up to you. What we're gonna start with, and I'm gonna weigh all my ingredients. I'm gonna go ahead and use the MTS Vanilla. This is probably my favorite flavor for baking, especially things like cookies. I'm going to use a half a scoop of this, which ends up being about 17 grams. So go ahead and weigh that out. Next, I'm going to use some quick oats, and I'm going to do about 30 grams of oats. A little touchy. All right, so the next thing I'm going to add to kind of be our flour for the cookie between the oats and the protein powder, what I'm going to use is some coconut flour. I really do think this kind of helps make the recipe. If you don't have this on hand, just substitute and add a little bit more of the oats, or if you want to grind it down into an oat flour, you could do that as a substitute. But the coconut is kind of extra special because it adds a fluffiness to the cookie and it adds a really sweet flavor to it since it's essentially just ground up coconut. So what I'm going to do is add 2 servings or 2 tablespoons of this coconut flour, which ends up being about 14 grams. Sweeten it up, add some Splenda, and just use how much you like for sweetness. After we mix this all up, you could give it a taste. Right there, I'm adding about 1.5 tablespoons. And to make it rise a little bit more, even though the coconut flour will give it a little bit of lift, I'm going to add a little bit of baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon here. And then, since I'm not adding any fat to this recipe, what I'm using is just like a little no sugar added applesauce. It's just like Target brand. I'm going to add a couple tablespoons in there, which ends up being about half of one of these little 4-ounce containers. All right. So I'm going to mix this up just a little bit. And then what we're going to do to kind of get it to the consistency that we want is I'm going to use some cashew. I've got the unsweetened cashew milk right here by Silk. And I'm just going to add a little bit of that. You don't want to go overboard with it where it's too liquidy. So that's why I like to mix it up first as I'm doing to kind of get an idea of how much liquid I'm going to need to add. I'm going to start slow and just add a little bit here. And go ahead and mix that up. Now we are ready to add it to our pan, and what we're going to do for our raspberry filling that I mentioned, very simple. I've got, this is from Wegmans, a local grocery store, but we're going to add a sugar-free jam to the middle of it to kind of add that filling to it. So I am going to probably take a teaspoon here and take one of my cookies and just kind of set it down. I'm gonna make two big cookies, and I'm just setting it on wax paper that I'm gonna bake in the oven. I'm just gonna kind of form those into my cookies. Next, take our jam, and you guys could use any flavor you want. This is a mix of strawberry, plum, and raspberry. And I'm just dropping about 1 teaspoon of jam onto each. And I'm gonna eat them. It's going in my mouth, so I don't care. I'm gonna use my fingers, or you could use a spoon and be a little bit more more classy with it, I guess, and just spread it out onto your cookie, or if you just want it right in the middle, whatever you like, just spread it out onto your cookie. Actually, I think I want a little more jam. I'll use a little bit more. Yeah, that'll be good. I like the sugar-free, a little bit lower in calorie. Some of these add a little fiber too, depending on what kind of jam you got. And next we're gonna take the rest of our cookie topping and add it right on top. And these are gonna make some nice big cookies. So like I said, if you want, you could certainly make these into smaller size cookies. But I just wanted like 2 big ass cookies. Sometimes it's nice to just throw stuff in the bowl and kind of make one single serve portion. Sometimes I do my videos that way for you guys. Sometimes I show you how to make like 12 cookies at a time. Let me know below what's more helpful for you guys. I don't know how you guys normally cook. I'm normally cooking just for myself, so that's why I like to make stuff in a smaller portion. All right. So these are my 2 cookies ready to go in the oven at 400 degrees. Keep an eye on them. They're not gonna get a crunch to them. Oven's good to go. With the coconut flour, it keeps them kind of soft, so you just wanna get them a little bit crispy on the outside. So I'm gonna put it in for about 6 to 8 minutes, but just kind of keep an eye on your oven. We'll show you what they look like when they're all done. All right guys, so the cookies took about 8 minutes in my oven to cook, and what I did was put them on a wire rack to cool down afterwards. If you have one of these, I recommend throwing them on there because they are a bigger cookie. They need a little bit of time to cool before you eat them. So you can see you got 2 giant jumbo cookies. Delicious, they smell incredible. Like I said, if you want, you could cut this recipe in half and just make one. The macros for eating both of these end up being a total of 18.5 grams of protein, 39 carbs, and 6.5 grams of fat. So not too bad. And I wanted to cut one open, although you can kind of see the jam on the inside. Cut one open so you can get a look of it. There's the inside of our cookie. You could add a little more jam if you want, a little less, totally up to you. But these are my healthy cookies, a little bit different, very quick and easy to make. Hope you give them a try. Don't forget to tag me in your photos if you do make it and post it on Instagram. And please keep checking back for more recipes.